When I transmigrated into a vicious female supporting character in a school story, I was drowning at the bottom of a lake, choking on a large gulp of water. This was likely the most tragic opening for a villainess in history. Fortunately, though the original host didn't know how to swim, I did. I mustered all my strength to surface from the artificial lake, dragging myself to shore, my body trembling pitifully. The end of a villainess like me was described in just a few lines. One morning, an elderly man exercising found my corpse in the lake. The police concluded it was an accidental slip and fall. From then on, I vanished, no longer opposing the female lead, Natalie. Shortly after, Natalie and the male lead, Lucas, were admitted to Peking University as a couple. I spat out a mouthful of grass, furious. If I ever found out who pushed me, I wouldn't spare them. Though my memories were still chaotic from the transmigration, I didn't know why I'd been alone by the lake late at night. But before falling in, I distinctly recalled someone forcefully shoving me into the water. Soaking wet, I returned home, startling my parents. I hastily made an excuse, rushed upstairs for a hot shower, then soaked in a warm bath, sighing in relief. Being a wealthy, beautiful girl was truly comfortable indeed. The original host, Sophie, was an authentic tycoon. Her father was the chairman of a listed company, her mother a senior teacher. Spoiled her whole life, she got whatever she wanted. Except for Lucas. Lucas, who lived next door. Sophie had clung to Lucas since childhood. Though he found her annoying and rarely noticed her, she persisted, even pressuring her father to pay for a top class to study with him. Unfortunately, her desk mate wasn't her, but Natalie. The two grew closer, enraging Sophie, who schemed against Natalie daily. But how could she compete with the radiant female lead? In the end, she only made herself uglier, highlighting the female lead's perfect beauty. The author then killed her off with a few strokes of the pen. Now, as Sophie reborn, I could both enjoy being a tycoon and retake the college entrance exam. I was thrilled. After all, I died studying late at a cram school in my previous life. Luckily, the knowledge I'd learned with my life still remained usable. As there were no more plot points about me, of course, I had to study hard to get into Peking University and embrace a new life. Let Lucas and Natalie love each other. I, Sophie, wanted to be single, young, healthy, and happy. The next day at school, when I pulled out my completed homework, my round-faced desk mate Mia stared in shock. "Did you actually do the homework?" she asked, flipping through it. "Your handwriting's great. Did you copy from Lucas?" I rolled my eyes, about to reply, when Lucas, sitting ahead, turned around with a blank face. "Nope. Every word counts," he said, living up to his reputation. I saw Natalie pretending to struggle with a problem, her mouth twitching into a smile. "Mph." Looking at me, she smirked. I pouted. In my past life, I missed Peking University by 2 points and had to retake a year. Now, I'll definitely rank in the top 5 of our class. Just wait and see who laughs last. My diligent studying throughout the day left everyone around me agape. Leo, sitting diagonally behind me, complained, "Sophie, what stimulated you? You haven't talked to me all day." "I'm bored out of my mind." I decided. I had to strive to get into Peking University. "Don't slow me down." I swung my hand confidently. Leo burst into laughter, as if hearing the funniest joke, shaking with glee. "Before the math exam, you ranked last in class. Now you want to get into Peking University." I raised my head impatiently. "Fairy, there's nothing I can't do." I turned to my dear desk mate, signaling with my eyes. She encouraged me, clapping her hands. "Having a dream is wonderful." Leo laughed louder. Leo was the passionate male supporting character in the story, but his affection wasn't for Natalie. It was for the original Sophie, the all-around tycoon man. Sophie's unique dance at the opening ceremony amazed everyone, especially Leo. The wealthy, carefree young master began his usual routine, throwing money ineffectively, trying to drive her to school in his car, which she outshined with her own vehicle, and even being defeated in a hallway fight. She was a black belt. The more he was beaten, the braver he became, looking at her with increasingly bright eyes. Eventually, he became her loyal follower and tool to bully Natalie. After Sophie's drowning, Leo was devastated. He took a leave of absence and never appeared again in the story. Seeing Leo now laughing like a fool, I shook my head helplessly. Since I'd taken over Sophie's body, I decided to recruit him into my Peking University prep group. After school, a wail erupted from the milk tea shop. I don't want to study. I don't want to do homework. Leo screamed. Sophie, spare me. I'd rather run 10 laps around the field. I spun a pen leisurely. I can let you off writing notes, but don't follow me anymore. Not even on holidays. Leo scratched his short, spiky hair. This is just a new trick to attract Lucas's attention, right? You're annoyed by Natalie and Lucas being too close? I can teach her a lesson. All day she pretends to be a pure, studious lotus. Annoying. I sighed, deciding to have a heart-to-heart with this playboy. I rolled up my workbook into a microphone and held it to my mouth. Leo, a little interview. What's your dream? My dream? Leo frowned, thinking. Seems like I don't have one. What do you want most in life? Leo looked at me, his face flushing red, even his ears turning crimson. I slapped my workbook on his face. What are you thinking? And you, what do you think I want most? I looked into Leo's eyes seriously. To get into Peking University's math department. Leo's eyes widened. Not Lucas. Not Lucas. I affirmed, my mouth curving into a smile. Leo's grin grew wider, revealing his even white teeth, laughing like a fool. Near the end of math class, Mr. Tom announced the National High School Math Competition registration. Anyone wanting to join should sign up with me after class. In the original story, Lucas and Natalie both participated in the math competition in their second year, their relationship deepening during preparation, promising to be admitted to Peking University together. Coincidentally, Peking University was also my obsession. I had to join this competition. In my past life, I came from an ordinary but happy family, relying on my own efforts to study hard. But my school lacked experienced competition coaches, and I only won second prize. Not enough for Peking University's bonus points. This time I wanted to win the national first prize. After class, I dragged Leo and Mia to register, citing the desire to experience the national competition atmosphere. Rushing down the stair corner, I bumped into someone, scattering their papers. I apologized repeatedly, intending to help pick them up, but was yanked aside. Lucas knelt to gather the papers, coldly staring at me. Sophie, it's best you restrain yourself. Restrain myself? Leave again? I was speechless. Who did I bump into? Natalie. Her eyes red, fighting for strength as she took back her papers. I'm fine, she said. Lucas, the servant, didn't watch where he was going. No blame on Sophie. What a fragile, pitiful lotus, making people want to comfort her. Leo complained. Sophie didn't do it on purpose. She apologized. What more do you want? Natalie seemed intimidated, lowering her head, her fingers anxiously twisting. Lucas indifferently hugged her, his cold face softening. Let's go back to class, he said gently. The two left without looking back. Leo shouted at their backs. I disdain this dog couple. Then he looked at Mia. Aren't you going to curse too? Cursing isn't nice. Mia's round face wrinkled like a bun, taking a long time to say. I wish their venture ends in failure. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. What a mess. Time flew quickly as the competition approached. In the past month, I pulled Leo to find tutors, making up for missed knowledge from first year, occasionally studying together with him and Mia during evening self-study. Before the competition, I encouraged Leo. Do well. Don't make me lose face. To avoid trouble, I deliberately got some answers wrong, guessing my result would be around 28th. Jumping from last to top 5 was unrealistic. Though no one suspected I'd soul-swapped, the cheating label would stick. I aimed to climb steadily, one small step each month, finally impressing everyone in the final exam. I named this plan Project Moon Landing. Eagerly awaiting the results, I was surprised when they were announced. Leo ranked 15th. Improving more than me. Leo scratched his head, embarrassed. Didn't he tell me to do well? Actually, my middle school grades were decent, but my mom said, our family owns several mines, so you can take exams casually without pressure. I always thought we were ordinary, but now that I know we're rich, I've lost my drive. I don't know the meaning of effort. I just want to enjoy life. I suddenly realized something. Last place isn't your real strength, huh? Haha, being last is Fairy Sophie's embarrassment. Leo laughed. My eyes heated up. I tried hard to hold back tears. So stupid. To rank last, it's humiliating. After the monthly exam, our small group began focusing on math. I discovered Leo was truly gifted in math, while I relied on my past life's knowledge to barely match him. Mia had a solid foundation. The preliminary round mainly tested high school math knowledge. After relentless effort, all three of us passed. My recent diligence delighted my doting father. The night he learned I'd improved nearly 20 ranks in the monthly exam, after returning from a dinner, he held my hand and talked all night. Passing the national math preliminary round made him ecstatic. He insisted on inviting our kind neighbors to a meal to express gratitude. Everyone still thought I was working hard to get Lucas's attention. How ridiculous. At the dinner table, the adults clinked glasses joyfully. I coldly watched Lucas politely offering drinks and chatting with the elders, truly a graceful young master. But when the elders joked, a hint of disgust flickered on his face, barely noticeable. The dinner chatter was irrelevant to me. After fulfilling my drink offering duty, I quietly savored the food. The five-star hotel's chef skills were exquisite. Each dish delighted me. There was a particularly delicious beef and cilantro dish. Tender, juicy beef paired with fresh cilantro, endlessly satisfying. As I ate, I felt someone staring. Turning, I met Lucas's thoughtful gaze. This time, 18 students from our school made it to the preliminary round. Our class had 8, including me, Leo, Mia, Lucas, Natalie, and 3 other boys. Every evening after self-study, Teacher Jordan would call all 8 of us to his office for extra lessons. Gradually, I grew accustomed to the 3 other boys, Jason, Liam, and Wesley, all exemplary top students, quiet but fiercely discussing problems when stuck. Wesley was relatively lively, occasionally joking with everyone. Leo secretly told me, "I've seen Wesley and Liam secretly glance at Natalie several times. Truly a hopeless, unrequited love." I sighed. Natalie was indeed popular among the boys. Tonight, Teacher Jordan taught us a new problem type and added a few practice questions. I'd encountered this type before, finishing first. Bored, I stretched, relaxing my neck. Lucas, sitting diagonally opposite, finished second, reaching over to compare answers with mine. Without thinking, I handed it over. He quickly returned it. Our answers match. "Sophie, you've improved a lot. Really different from before." Lucas's sudden praise made me blush. "Please don't praise me like that. I can't handle it," I said, fidgeting like a cat with ruffled fur, nearly jumping up. "Only I can say you're great. Stay away from him." Lucas stared at me deeply, then fell silent. After the long weekend on Friday, I went to the phone repair shop to retrieve my water-damaged phone. Perhaps due to memory loss from the trauma, I couldn't recall anything before falling into the water. Maybe the phone's information could help me remember. I hastily turned it on, quickly scanning WeChat messages and social media. Nothing unusual. Until I opened the text messages. The first message clearly read, "Lucas, tonight 7:30. Meet under the artificial lake bridge in the city center park. I have something to say." In that moment, memories flooded back. The original host, seeing Lucas's message, was overjoyed, changing into beautiful clothes to meet him. But the park at night was pitch black, nearly deserted. Anxious, she waited under the bridge until 8 p.m. But Lucas never came. The park was dark as ink, the wind howling, tree shadows swaying. After waiting in vain, she decided to call Lucas, but was pushed into the lake before finding her phone in her bag. I clenched the phone, sweat drenching my body. The feeling of despair overwhelmed me, as if I were the original host sinking helplessly in the cold water, unable to cry out, slowly drowning. Just then the phone rang. I clutched at a straw, hastily answering. Leo's clear voice came through. "Sophie, tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the school gym, there's a high school basketball game. You have to come cheer me on." The corners of my mouth curved into a smile. "All right, Fairy will come cheer you on. You'll definitely win. Hee deal. See you tomorrow," he said, then hurriedly added, "Remember to bring water for me." I agreed, slightly flustered. Why doesn't the school basketball team provide water? The near-death experience of drowning horrified me. Who wanted to harm me? I decided to confront Lucas. I wanted to ask why he texted me but left me hanging. Was the person who pushed me into the water him? I knocked on the door next door. As Lucas opened it, I signaled him to come out. I had something to say. He seemed flustered but followed me out. I directly showed him the message. Just as I was about to question him, he took the phone, pressed a few buttons and awkwardly left. I didn't send this message. Or rather, this isn't my number. He showed me his phone screen. After calling the number, it was out of service. Someone changed the contact info in your phone, he said. I froze. Lucas returned the phone lightly saying, April 2nd was the day you were pushed into the lake. It's April 29th now. You took your time coming to me. Your reaction is really slow. I was a bit panicked, not knowing what to say. Taking the phone, I turned to leave. Behind me, Lucas's voice rang out. Let me guess. Did your phone fall into the lake? Or did the phone and person fall in together? I turned back, facing his knowing gaze. Who are you? You're not Sophie, are you? Cold sweat trickled down my back. I gritted my teeth, forcing a smile. Lucas, are you crazy? My parents didn't give birth to any sisters. How could there be another me? Interesting. Lucas stroked his chin as if thinking. I sneered coldly. Who I am is none of your business. As for Sophie, she died because of you. She didn't fall accidentally. Someone killed her. As if wanting to say something, I reassured her she's fine, don't mind petty people, they're just jealous. Because I'm rich, beautiful and talented, it was our class's basketball team's turn to play. The gym erupted with female students' cheers. Number 4 is so handsome, they screamed. Number 4 was. Lucas truly handsome. Occasionally we cries rang out. Number 3 is also handsome, so energetic. Number 3 my taste. I glanced at the girls praising. Number 3 nodding in agreement. Leo kept looking up at the bleachers. Mia and I exchanged glances, smiling. Each of us raised a red banner we'd rushed to make. Leo Class 11's number 1 most handsome. Leo was surprised, his eyes widening. Lucas and his teammates also noticed, giving us a thumbs up. I, completely clueless about basketball, just cheered when points were scored. Watching the score get close, I tensed up. I saw Leo skillfully pass the ball, cooperating in with teammates every time he shot. My heart pounded. A focused boy playing basketball was truly charming. After the first and second quarters, our class won with a narrow score, everyone cheering. Joyfully, I saw Natalie rush down to give Lucas a water bottle. Mia and I also went to find Leo. Lucas was surrounded by blushing girls offering water, but he smiled without accepting. Natalie, slightly blushing, handed him her bottle. He glanced at me, smiled faintly and took it from Natalie. Leo strode over to me, grabbing a mineral water bottle. I'm thirsty, here, drink this, he said, chugging it. In an instant, I stared at the sports drink I'd prepared for him, finally finding my voice. That one's mine. This one's for you. Leo looked around, embarrassed. I was too thirsty, didn't notice. Hey buddy, drink this. I felt my face heating up, wondering if this counted. As I lowered my head, hiding my slightly red face, suddenly a sharp pain in my head, a basketball hit me, nearly knocking me over. Leo worriedly supported me. Sophie, are you okay? Dizzy, nauseous. I held my head, speechless. Are you okay? Lucas also came over, anxiously asking. Wesley rushed over repeatedly, apologizing. I'm really sorry, I meant to throw the ball into the recycling cart, but accidentally hit you. Truly sorry. Do you need a hospital? I wearily waved my hand. No hospital needed, let me rest a bit. Can you walk? Lucas offered. The driver will be here soon. Sophie, come back with me today. Lucas was unusually concerned. No need, thank you for your care, I'll have Leo take me, I said. Leo firmly refused on my behalf. Leaning half on Leo, the first saw Natalie standing with a few girls in the distance, staring at Lucas, her expression somewhat ugly. After the headache subsided, I wiped away the physiological tears and signaled for Leo and Mia to stand beside me. I'm fine now, I said. Leo still wasn't reassured, gently pressing where the basketball hit me, causing an involuntary cry. He immediately told Mia to leave first, insisting on taking me to the hospital for a series of checks. Of course, there were no issues. I laughed and cried, saying, see, I'm fine. You're over. Worried. Leo sighed in relief. That's good, you've been expanding your mind lately. I was afraid you'd get hit again and become more foolish. You're the fool, I retorted. After leaving the hospital, not wanting to go home immediately, Leo and I wandered aimlessly through the narrow alleys. The gentle breeze carried the damp, fresh scent of the sea, but I felt uneasy inside. Leo looked at me several times, unable to hold back his question. Sophie, do you have something on your mind? I hesitated, unsure whether to tell Leo about my worries, but honestly I couldn't figure out who wanted to kill me. Leo placed his warm hand on my shoulder. Sophie, no matter what, I'll always be by your side. Just turn around and I'll be there. Tears welled up. I Choked out every detail to Leo about being deliberately pushed into the water except for the transmigration. Leo. Listen seriously, so someone changed the notes in your phone, lured you to the artificial lake bridge in the park and pushed you, and luckily a kind passerby saved you. If not, you'd be dead. I nodded. I couldn't bear to tell you Sophie truly left this world that night. Leo clenched his hands, eyes red, trying to suppress his anger. Sophie, I'll definitely find that bastard and avenge you. I checked the cameras near the park, the ones there had been broken for a long time. Revealing nothing, I also asked the kind passerby. He said he didn't see anyone nearby. The phone number in the contact list was also out of service. Leo breathed deeply, trying to stay calm. Do you suspect anyone? I shook my head. The person I've offended the most is Natalie. But she values her reputation. She wouldn't do this. Maybe it's a business rival of your father's. No. Leo denied himself. Modern phone tech probably can't control it remotely without anyone knowing. Sophie, think carefully. Who could have accessed your phone those days? I frowned, trying to recall. Usually I keep my phone in my room. No one enters. Oh, during P. I once forgot it in class, but my phone has a password not easy to unlock. Leo groaned. Not many people know your unlock password is Lucas's birthday. He grabbed my hand. Let's go back to school. Investigate the surveillance cameras. The school's surveillance can be freely investigated, right? My mom donated $5 million to the school in the school's surveillance room. Leo and I looked at each other in disappointment. During P. class, the surveillance cameras had lost power. No images at all. Damn it, someone must have pulled the plug. Leo said angrily. It's very likely someone close to us, otherwise they couldn't be deliberately cut the power at that exact time. It's too coincidental. I thought for a while, then said maybe we should call the police. Let the police handle this. Leo shook his head. No clear evidence. The police won't take it. Let's check the external building cameras. They might show who entered the teaching building at that time. Leo and I carefully examined each frame on the surveillance screen. Finally, we spotted 4 people returning to the teaching building. During P. Mandy and Marina seemed to be together, leaving about 15 minutes later. Then Wesley and Liam went in one after another, leaving separately about 5 minutes later. Then 10 minutes after that. Leo hesitated. If I remember correctly, Mandy and Marina had a good relationship with Natalie right during the basketball game before they sat together. I nodded. Wesley and Liam both had feelings for Natalie. It seems all 4 are suspicious. When school starts again, I'll try probing Mandy and Marina first. Leo. Sophie, you must be careful. I feel that person won't let it go easily. They might target me too. Pushing me into the water might have been an impulsive act, I said hesitantly. Anyway, this person tried to kill you. Later I'll take you home for now. Don't go anywhere alone. I nodded. Having someone to discuss with made me feel less lonely, my heart lighter. That back at school, I stopped Mandy at the school gate, staring at her from head to toe for a long time. Mandy, uncomfortable under my gaze, asked Sophie, what do you want? Just say it. I have homework to do. I narrowed my eyes. Nothing, just someone told me that a few weeks ago during PU and Marina tampered with my things. Wang Ming seemed panicked, not daring to look me in the eye. I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't touch your things. Don't frame us. I stepped closer, staring into her eyes, my tone more serious. Really, it's best you confess, otherwise after reporting to the police and this blows up, you won't have a good outcome. Finally, Mandy burst into tears, sobbing. Was it Wesley who told you I and Marina just couldn't stand you always bullying Natalie? So during that PE class, we secretly went back to the classroom and added a bit of washing powder water to your spring bottle, just a little, but Wesley caught us when he walked in. Please don't call the police. I'm sorry, really sorry. Hiccups. I felt disappointed it wasn't them. I relayed the situation to Leo, who agreed. If so, it must be Wesley or Liam tonight. Let's go to Teacher Jordan's office to observe and act when necessary. During the evening self-study group session, the 8 of us still studied in Teacher Jordan's office. As the competition date neared, Teacher Jordan sped up his teaching. Everyone seriously worked on sample exam questions. Leo and I glanced at each other. I pretended not to open the mineral water bottle cap, handing it to Leo for help. When he gave it back, I deliberately didn't catch it, spilling most of the water onto Liam's exam paper. Blurring the page, I hurriedly apologized, carefully observing Liam's face clearly annoyed but no signs of hatred or resentment. After I repeatedly apologized, he calmed down, even comforting me, saying it was fine, I didn't do it on purpose. Leo and I both understood it was highly likely Wesley, but we didn't know if Natalie was aware. Leo hired a few thugs from a vocational school to tail Wesley for a few days later. Leo, with sunken eyes and bloodshot, met me at the milk tea shop. Sophie, Wesley is quite dangerous, he said. What do you mean? I asked. Leo hesitated. The people tailing him searched Wesley's trash can and Found he abused cats. Sometimes he'd stalk Natalie. Once when Lucas walked Natalie home, he stood far away watching with a creepy expression. Also, I played games with him before and found his Weibo through his IP address. A few days ago I discovered some things. Leo opened Wesley's Weibo on his phone. I scrolled through the account named Dark Knight. Most posts were cryptic. On March 29th, he'd liked a post from account and in 6 Hannah, why does she always treat me this way? I can't take it anymore. Could I make her disappear? I fell silent. The person who wanted me dead was Natalie. Indeed, it was her. I'd asked some middle school classmates of Wesley. Natalie and Wesley were classmates but barely interacted. Only once, when Wesley had low blood sugar and fainted, Natalie found him and took him to the infirmary, but they remained distant. In 10th grade, a thug harassed Natalie for a long time. Later, the thug was found dead from a fall at an abandoned construction site. The police concluded it was an accident. I'd gone through all of Natalie's Weibo posts and found around that time she posted every day after school he blocks me near the school. I'm so scared. I wish a knight would appear to punish him as he deserves. This post was also liked by Dark Knight. I felt icy cold, trembling so violently my teeth chattered. Leo, what should I do? I'm so scared. Leo gently patted my back to comfort me. Don't be afraid, Sophie. I'll always protect you. He took out his smartwatch and put it on my wrist. Wear this if anything happens. I'll always know your location. Just press and hold number 1. The emergency contact is me. Also, should I tell your parents about this? I shook my head. Don't tell them yet. There's no concrete evidence. We can't report to the police. Telling them will only worry them. They might make me transfer schools and I don't want to transfer. Leo and I, like Lucas, went through several uneventful days and gradually relaxed. I used to think Wesley was amiable, but observing closely I noticed he seemed unable to truly feel certain emotions. Sometimes when others joked, he'd laugh half a beat slower, as if adjusting his emotions based on others' reactions. From my past love of psychological crime films and psychology books, a term popped into my head: high-functioning antisocial personality disorder. After transmigrating here, I'd avoided Natalie. Now I just hope to participate in the math competition smoothly and spend the remaining year of high school peacefully. But things never went as I wished. Teacher Jordan had finished teaching the second-round exam question types and gave us some mock exams. Leo and Lucas stabilized in the top 3 while Natalie was unstable, sometimes even dropping out of the top 10. I noticed a small change in Lucas's attitude toward Natalie. If before they were in a state between friendship and love, now he seemed to have retreated to just friends. Lucas became more proactive in talking to me, mainly discussing exam questions. I sneered inwardly. This Lucas only played with talented people. As the second round exam neared, I felt Natalie was a bit anxious lately. Every time she did exam questions, she'd lose focus. Every time I looked up after working for a while, I'd catch her gaze, always carrying an indistinct, hard-to-understand emotion. She even deliberately bumped into me, standing close to be accidentally touched, but Lucas never stood up for her. Again, the round exam required going to a city. The school arranged a bus to take us the day before departure. Leo found me looking a bit tense. Natalie posted on Weibo, he said, showing me his phone screen. NN0625. I feel so failed. Everything I care about is being taken away. Is there any hope left in my life? I frowned. What's this again? It seems she might direct Wesley to attack you again. I sigh. What must come will come this time. I want them to face the law's punishment in a city. After resting for a while, Teacher Jordan took us to see the exam rooms and the hotel we'd stay in near the sea. Opening the hotel window, one could feel the slightly salty sea breeze. Around 9:00 p.m. Mia and I were washing our faces in the room when Natalie knocked. Sophie, are you free? I have something to tell you. Can't you say it here? Natalie looked a bit awkward, glancing at Mia. It's better to talk outside. Wait a bit, I'll change. I sent a message to Leo. Natalie came to find me, saying she has something to say. I have to go out with her now. Leo quickly replied, be careful, I'll stand far away and watch you. I'll turn on the hidden camera in my lapel pin. I followed Natalie out of the hotel. The wind was strong tonight. Natalie walked silently ahead. The sea waves crashed against the railing. I suddenly felt uneasy. Stop. Let's talk here, I said. Natalie turned to me. Sophie, I know it's presumptuous to say this, but I have no other choice. Could you not participate in the exam tomorrow? I was surprised. Natalie, do you know what you're saying? Natalie bit her lips. Sophie, I know your family is well off. Even if you don't take this exam, you can still get into a good school, but for me this is my only chance to get bonus points for 12th grade. I can't spend more time preparing for the exam, so please. I was furious, laughing. So you think I'm Holding you back? Who gave you the confidence to believe that if I don't take the exam you'll have a chance to win first prize? Natalie almost shouted, trembling. But you owe me. You used to bully me, cornering me in the bathroom, blocking me in alleys after school. Shouldn't there be a price based on what? Do you want to change to improve? You immediately get good resources. Everyone likes you. Even Lucas looks at you differently. What about all my past efforts? I'm sorry for my past wrongdoings toward you, but this has nothing to do with whether I take the exam or not, I said coldly. Moreover, didn't you already have Wesley retaliate against me? If not for my luck, I might have disappeared from this world long ago. What about that thug who used to harass you? He really did die. Should I consider this incitement to commit a crime? Natalie shouted. He took away the most precious thing from me. He's dying tomorrow. I'll take the exam as planned and wish you good luck. I didn't want to argue further, wanting to return to the hotel to rest early for the exam tomorrow. Behind me, Natalie's gritted voice rang out. Sophie, it's you who forced me. Before losing consciousness, it seemed I heard Leo's angry shout again. Opening my eyes, the situation had completely exceeded my expectations. Both Natalie and I were tied up, rope around our necks. I saw Leo standing not far away, looking at me worriedly. Wesley held a knife, smirking triumphantly. Natalie, you belong to me. Why always want to be by Lucas's side? He'll be here soon. Let's see if he can only save one person. Who will he choose, Sophie or you? I'm really looking forward to his choice. Leo rushed over. Wesley, I've called the police. They'll be here soon. If you let them go now, we can pretend nothing happened. Wesley scornfully looked at him. You're really stupid. It was me who pushed Sophie into the lake that day. After she sank, I waited by the lake for 10 minutes. She should have been dead. Now this person crawls back up. Don't know if she's human or ghost. I couldn't bear to look at Leo's reaction despairingly. Closing my eyes, Wesley was truly mad. Lucas panted, running over. What's going on? Wesley, what are you doing? Let them go. Oh, our young master has arrived today. Only one of them can stay. The other can only sleep forever with the sea. Wesley said. Lucas, who will you choose to save? Lucas gritted his teeth. I'll save both. Wesley mocked. Young master, you have to decide quickly in 1 minute. If you can't decide, I'll push both down. Lucas clenched his fists, veins bulging. I choose Sophie. Natalie wailed. No, I don't want to die. Wesley gently brushed her hair. Natalie, don't cry. Blame yourself for rejecting me, then choosing Lucas. Now you want to use me to eliminate obstacles for your Natalie. There's no such good thing in this world. If I can't have you, I can only destroy you. Natalie screamed as she fell into the sea. The rope around my neck suddenly tightened. Wesley had truly tied me and Natalie together, the rope digging into our necks. Due to lack of oxygen, my mind spun. I could feel my face was extremely pale. Wesley seemed to stand beside, watching me with interest. He said with disgust, does it hurt? Let me help you. He pulled me up, intending to push me into the sea. In the chaos, I saw Leo and Lucas rushing over. Finally, I lost balance and fell into the sea. Before sinking, I felt a strong body tightly holding me. What happened next, I only learned from Mia's account when I lay in the hospital bed that day. The police and rescue team arrived in time. Leo and Natalie were both saved. However, after waking up, Natalie just rambled nonsensically, seeming mentally unstable. Wesley was restrained on the spot and temporarily detained in a holding cell. Leo and I fell into the sea, possibly hitting a submerged rock. He still hadn't woken up. Lucas took the exam as planned and visited once after I woke up, but I made an excuse to be tired, asking him to leave early. When my body recovered a bit, I slowly walked to the adjacent hospital room to visit Leo. His face also had a few small wounds. Slightly pale, he lay silently on the hospital bed. In the original story, after Sophie's death, Wesley didn't appear again. Knowing the truth of her death, I didn't understand why someone with such possessiveness toward Natalie like Wesley would vanish from the subsequent plot. Now I had a rough guess. After Leo dropped out of school, he must have investigated the cause of Sophie's death and eventually found Wesley. I don't know what method he used to make him face deserved punishment. I looked at Leo's profile with a high noose bridge, feeling lingering affection. Having someone like Leo care for me, Sophie was truly blessed. Now with Wesley exposing the truth, I didn't know how to face him. Leo's eyes flickered, seeming about to wake. I panicked, standing up to leave. Leo made a faint sound. Sophie, don't go, I stammered. How are you feeling? Let me call the doctor. No need, Leo said quietly. Sophie, I want to talk to you. I sat down, feeling restless. Actually, I've sensed for a while that you're not the original Sophie, Leo said with a bitter smile. I just always hoped to keep you by my side, that one day Sophie would come back. I even deceived myself into thinking you were D, because being with you is truly wonderful. I've been very happy lately. I bowed my head, hot tears falling onto my palm. But I'm not her. I'm just a lost soul from another world. I don't Know how I ended up in her body. She was very good, and you're very good too. Please live well in this world. On her behalf I mustered all my courage to ask Leo, so do you like the original Sophie? Now or me? Leo fell silent, a terrifying silence. Finally he slowly replied, I don't know, give me some time Sophie, I can't tell anymore. I tried to smile, not letting more tears fall. I understand, get better soon, I'll go back. I stood up to leave. Leo's deep voice rang out, can you tell me your real name? I clenched the doorknob. After that I transferred schools and left that city every day. I spend a lot of time studying, as if that way I wouldn't have to think him anymore. The college entrance exam ended as expected. I was admitted to Peking University's math department on enrollment day. I refused my parents' strong request to accompany me, dragging my suitcase to the Peking University gate. Alone at the gate with its exquisite carvings, I saw a familiar tall figure. He smiled, revealing even white teeth. I'm Leo, nice to meet you. I looked at him and also smiled. Leo, in the future, please guide me a lot.